Richard Boyd Barrett, who's taking the question.
Yeah. Taoiseach, don't you think you should just apologise for trivialising the issue of the climate emergency by making those comments? Because they really they do give succour to the climate deniers like Donald Trump to make glib, trivialising comments of that sort. And I think it would be helpful, frankly, if you just said that was a comment, they were comments you regret. But also, I just really want to question your more general bona fides on this, given the continued commitment to go ahead with the LNG, the liquid natural gas terminal in Shannon, which is going to import toxic fracked gas from the United States. It's okay to ban fracking here, and quite rightly, because of the damage it does to the environment, but we have no problem with visiting that among the people of the United States. But I also just want to ask about public transport and your commitment in that regard. I mean, we've been having a series of meetings on Bus Connects over the last while, and when you look into just the facts of public transport in this country, you really have to wonder about the government's commitment to get people out of their cars. I mean, how is improving public transport, how does that square with the fact that fares in the last 10 years in this country have gone up by 80%, and that the public service obligation subsidy to Dublin Bus has dropped from 87 million to 50 million, a dramatic drop, and that we have less buses in Dublin bus fleet than we had in 2008. How do those facts, stark facts, about the poor state of our public transport system and its high cost, one of the highest in fare terms for anywhere in Europe, how does that square with a commitment to improve public transport, get people out of private cars and reduce CO2 emissions? I put it to you, it doesn't. It doesn't, and it squares more with an agenda to privatise public transport, which will do nothing to reduce CO2 emissions.
Well, first of all, I just want to state at the outset, just in case anyone has any doubt about it, climate change is real. It is happening right now. It is man-made, and it is unprecedented, and it is detrimental to human life and well-being, both in Ireland and globally. And any benefits that may arise from it are far outweighed many times over by the damage it's doing and will do. And I did say that last Thursday as well. And that is why we're taking action. Just take the last few weeks alone. We took the decision to increase the carbon tax, not a popular one, but one that everyone who's serious about climate action knows has to be part of the solution. We secured 500 million to build an interconnector between France and Ireland so we can sell our wind energy to Europe. We decided to restrict exploration in our waters. We ordered more rail cars, which will increase capacity on our rail services around Dublin by 34%. The Lewis capacity expansion is underway, with the new National Train Control Centre approved. We've decided to take coal and peat out of the energy system in favour of wind and solar. We're promoting electric vehicles and changing the bus fleet to hybrids. With the new building regulations to make sure new buildings are near zero energy buildings. We're investing in retrofit. We banned fracking. We've set up a climate action fund funded by a levy on the oil industry. And that's just a start. Just a few of the examples of things that the government that I lead has practically done in the last couple of months to bring about climate action, which is something that we and I am very serious. In relation to what I said on Thursday, I'm happy to clarify. As the Sunday Business Post said, it was an observation. It wasn't a policy statement or anything like that, and I can see how it was open to misinterpretation by those who may be pursuing a climate sceptic agenda. But I would like to put it into a little bit of context. The document we were launching was this document, Health Climate Change Sectoral Adaptation Plan, published by the Department of Health. And on page 14 it says the following. It is also important to note that there are a number of health benefits projected to occur as a result of climate change. For example, warmer weather may reduce the risk of cold-related illnesses and death, and may potentially improve mental health and well-being and increase physical activity levels. This is a scientific and evidence-based document with 7 pages of scientific references and citations backing up what it said. And I'd also draw members' attention to the 2015 Climate Change Act, an act introduced under the leadership of Alan Kelly by the Labour Party when they were in government. It's an act that all of us voted for. Section 5 of that act requires the government in our national adaptation plan to avail of any positive effects of climate change that may occur. So Alan Kelly, the Minister at the time, and the people who voted for that legislation in the House, not only believed that there may be positive effects of climate change, he also wrote it into the law and made a requirement that the government take it into account in our adaptation plans. And I don't think anyone would argue that Alan Kelly or Eamon Ryan or the environmental NGOs or Micheál Martin, who all supported writing that into law, are somehow Donald Trump or climate change deniers.
We move on to the next questions. And
yeah, on the electric vehicles, I'd have to get you that.
okay.
Yeah. If there is one, I'll get it for you. But
Okay,
I think it's fair to say that there's plenty of targets that don't necessarily have an evidence base behind them, but
okay,
they're ambitions.
Taoiseach.
No, there isn't always.
So,
I don't think there is always, actually. Switching to electric vehicles is an important part of the low-carbon transition. Government will continue to help individual motorists who want to make the switch to electric vehicle. And we've allocated £8 million in the budget to maintain grants at their current level for individuals purchasing electric cars. This is in addition to DCA planned expenditure. A further £3 million will be provided for new electric vehicle infrastructure, and an additional £3 million has been allocated for investment in new electric vehicle charging infrastructure. This includes additional funding towards the cost of installing on-street charge points, the expansion of home charging scheme, and the provision of funding to the Department of Transport, Tourism and Sport to roll out fast charging points to taxi ranks and transport hubs around the country. I think I was asked about smoky coal and extending that ban. I believe, as I explained before, we have very strong legal advice from the Attorney General that is legally fraught, because burning turf and briquettes and burning wood actually does as much damage to our air quality as burning smoky coal. We don't believe that we'd be able to stand that up in court were we to do it. And people will be aware in towns like Enniscorthy, for example, and you only have to go there and smell the air. A huge part of what's happening there when it comes to air quality is the burning of peat and briquettes. And in Dublin, it's largely down to diesel cars.
Listen,